You should never have brought that child here. The sharp voice echoed through the mansion's hallway, making William stop in silence before the half-open door. He thought he knew his wife, but those words revealed a cruel side he never imagined he would witness. That week, the staff welcomed a new face, Amanda Davis, the newly hired housekeeper. Young, with alert eyes, and a posture that seemed to be asking permission to breathe. "And welcome, Amanda," the housekeeper said, handing her a clean apron. "Mrs. Harris likes everything in its place. No noise in the main hallway, okay?" "Yes, ma'am. I'll do my best." "Your best here is the bare minimum," Elizabeth interrupted, appearing like a reflex. "The conservatory needs to be sparkling before noon, and no streaks on the glass." "Understood, Mrs. Harris." Amanda walked through the mansion with measured steps, mentally remembering her tasks, polishing the banister, organizing the music room, checking the silverware. Her body worked, her mind calculated. Each room had an invisible rule, each object a different care. In the laundry room, she folded sheets with a seamstress's precision, aligning corners as if aligning her own life, millimeter by millimeter, so as not to collapse. "You're quick," the cook commented, offering a glass of water. "Thank you, I just need to learn the rhythm of the house." "Mrs. Harris's rhythm here, I noticed." Later, Amanda brought fresh flowers into the living room. She chose the least conspicuous, as if her presence also needed to be minimal. She set the vase down and took a deep breath. In the distance, she heard laughter, silverware, conversations that didn't include her. The mansion had thick walls, but the words penetrated. William crossed the hall and saw her straightening a crooked picture frame. "This is perfect. Thank you, Amanda." She blushed, surprised by the kindly spoken name. "You're welcome, Mr. Harris." Elizabeth walked in soon after, her perfume marking her arrival. She glanced at the vase. "Those aren't the white tulips. Who decided to change them?" I just thought these suited the afternoon light better." A short, harsh silence. "This isn't about what you think." Elizabeth adjusted the vase an inch to the left. "It's about what I want." Amanda nodded, swallowing her answer. She made a mental note: white tulips, never light pink ones. She returned to her work, folding her own heart along with the towels. William watched from afar. He noticed the careful way Amanda touched the objects, as if holding things that aren't just expensive, they're fragile. He also saw the shadow Elizabeth's voice left on the new maid's face. He memorized the scene like someone who keeps a receipt that might one day be needed. The morning arrived chilly in Boston. The sky, a wet grey, seemed to weigh down the rooftops as Amanda pressed her cell phone to her ear, standing on the sidewalk in front of the mansion's gate. "Please, do you have any openings today? The daycare has been closed since yesterday." The voice on the other end was firm but sweet. "I'm sorry, Amanda. We're on break this week. I can't see your son." She closed her eyes for a second, clutching her coat to her chest. She glanced at the stroller. The baby was sleeping, cheeks flushed, a teddy bear clutched in her hands. "Okay, thanks anyway." Amanda took a deep breath and pushed the stroller inside. At the door, the housekeeper raised her eyebrows. "Problem at daycare. Recess, just for today. I promise it won't be a problem." "Do your job, dear, and try to keep the little one in the conservatory. It's quieter." The conservatory looked like a painting. Glass walls, tall plants, cold light streaming across the marble floor. Amanda spread out a blanket and placed the baby there, near the stroller, with some toys. "Mommy'll be right back, my love. I'll stay there, cleaning the windows. If anything happens, I'll run." The baby smiled toothlessly, clapping his hands on the teddy bear. Amanda worked quickly, rotating cloths, precise sprays, short movements. She glanced at the blanket every few minutes. Her eyes were alert, her heart torn. Between one window and the next, she whispered to her son, "Are you okay? Are you cold?" "No, right. You're my courage." Heels clicked in the hallway like small hammers. Elizabeth's perfume arrived before her. "Good morning." The voice was cold, cutting through the air. Amanda straightened. "Good morning, Mrs. Harris." Elizabeth stopped, her eyes scanning the space. She stared at the blanket. She stared at the stroller. "What's this? My daycare is closed. I had no one to leave my son with. I brought him just for today. He's quiet, I promise." Silence. Elizabeth took 2 steps forward, her expression hard. "Quiet? In my house?" She looked at the floor, as if the child's presence was soiling the marble. "Can't you even be professional here?" The baby, as if understanding the tone, grumbled and brought the teddy bear to his mouth. "He won't get in the way. I'll handle the job," Amanda said firmly, but her fingers trembling on the cloth. Elizabeth crossed her arms. "This isn't a playground. It's a high-end home. You were hired to clean, not to cause problems." "I know, it was just an emergency." "I'm not interested in emergencies. Results are." Amanda lowered her eyes. The light from the glass reflected her face, wet with a stubborn tear. She wiped it away quickly, as if erasing a mistake. "I apologize. If you want, I can..." "Can you?" Elizabeth lifted her chin. "You can go home, take the child, and if you can't keep the hours, you can look for another job." The word job hit Amanda's chest like a cold wind. She looked at her son. The innocent baby looked back, clutching the teddy bear as if holding his mother's hand. "I have to work, Mrs. Harris. Please, just today." Elizabeth smiled sideways, that smile without warmth. "Rules are rules. The world doesn't stop because of your drama." The teddy bear slipped from his small hand and fell onto the marble with a soft plop. The baby pouted, his breath hitching. Amanda ran, grabbed the teddy bear and kissed her son's forehead. "Shh! Mommy's here! Plays now!" Elizabeth interrupted. "Want a stage too?" The baby's cry hitched, thin, desperate. Amanda tried to soothe him, rocking him slowly. The sound filled the conservatory, invading the hallways. "Make that noise stop," Elizabeth said through gritted teeth. "Now, he's just a baby. And you're just an employee. If you can't separate your personal life from work, you're not fit for this house." Amanda took a deep breath. She looked into Elizabeth's eyes for a second. There was an old weariness there, of someone who had already swallowed too much. "I separate every day. Today, I just didn't have a choice." "There are always choices." Elizabeth pointed to the door. "Mine is to keep this house spotless. Yours is to be here by my rules. Understand?" From the hallway, firm footsteps approached and stopped at the half-open door. Amanda didn't see them. She was bent over the baby, trying to stifle the crying with gentle touches and a whispered song. Elizabeth, however, caught a shadowy movement and lifted her chin, keeping her tone. "I repeat, take the child away, or take your things." The sentence hung in the air, heavy, cruel. The conservatory, so beautiful just minutes before, now felt like an oxygen-deprived aquarium. Amanda clutched her son to her chest, as if she could shield him from the cold. "I just want to work, Mrs. Harris, that's all." The baby's cry echoed through the conservatory like an innocent plea, but each note sounded to Elizabeth like a siren of chaos. She adjusted the pearl necklace around her neck, lifted her chin, and cast a cold gaze on Amanda. "Enough. Either you choose work, or the child." The words fell hard, like stones, shattering the silence between them. Amanda clutched her son to her chest, her body trembling, her heart racing. I need both of you, Mrs. Harris. I need the job to take care of him. I'm not interested in your personal life. There's only one priority here, my spotless house." Amanda swallowed hard, trying to hold back her tears. The baby sobbed softly, clinging to the fabric of her mother's uniform. Elizabeth stepped forward, her heels clicking on the marble. "You're mistaken if you thought this was a shelter. It's a job, and jobs don't tolerate distractions." "He's not a distraction." Amanda's voice trailed off, fragile, but firm enough to keep her from falling silent. The cook, who was hurrying down the hallway, slowed down when she heard the argument. She stopped with her head down, pretending to straighten her apron, but her eyes said it all: embarrassment. Elizabeth noticed and raised her voice even higher, as if she wanted it to echo throughout the house. "Look closely, all of you. This is how you lose your dignity, mixing your personal life with your work." Amanda felt her face burn. These weren't just words. This was an exposition. Her instinct was to lower her eyes, but the baby pulled her back to reality with small sobs. She rocked him, murmuring, "Shh, it's okay, my love. Mommy's here." Elizabeth rolled her eyes. "Ridiculous. A cheap soap opera in my living room. I just want to work, Mrs. Harris. I won't let anything go unattended, I promise." Promises don't pay bills, nor do they clean windows. The gardener, passing through the glass door, stopped when he heard her. He pretended to look at the plants, but he couldn't hide his expression of discomfort. His employer's disdain was well known, but seeing the baby involved made it all the more cruel. Elizabeth pointed to the door with the coldness of someone sending away an object. "Last chance. Either this baby comes out now, or you never walk through this door again." Amanda, paralyzed, felt her eyes well up with tears. Her mind raced. If she left, she'd lose her job. If she stayed, she'd lose what little respect she had left. The baby cried louder, as if sensing the dilemma. "Please," her voice came out in a whisper, "just today. Today. There's no such thing as just today. You're either professional every day, or you're no good." The silence was heavy. Even the baby stopped crying for a moment, as if awaiting the verdict. Amanda no longer knew where to look. The marble floor reflected her tired face. The scattered toys betrayed her attempt to balance worlds that never quite fit together. Elizabeth crossed her arms and delivered the final blow. "Choose. Now." Amanda closed her eyes, kissed her son's head, and whispered to him, "I will not abandon you." The door to the conservatory opened with a calm, yet purposeful movement. The sound of Elizabeth's heels stopped for a second, long enough for the baby's cries to fill the space. William entered, his posture erect, his gaze steady. There was no rush, but there was determination. "Is that how you talk to someone who's just trying to take care of their own child?" His voice came deep, not shouting, but cutting. Elizabeth blinked, taken aback for a moment. She regained her cool tone. "William, we're in the middle of a domestic problem. I can solve it. You've already solved too much," he snapped, approaching Amanda. "Give him to me." Amanda hesitated, unsure if this was right. William held out his arms. The baby, still sobbing, lay in his lap, and as if by a miracle, the crying subsided. William rested the baby's head on his shoulder and, with his other hand, gestured for Amanda to breathe. "It's okay." Elizabeth gritted her teeth. "You don't understand, dear. Rules are necessary. This isn't a display case," William finished, without turning his head. "It's a house." Silence fell heavily. The cook, leaning against the doorframe, lowered her eyes. The gardener, outside, pretended to prune a non-existent leaf. The entire mansion seemed to hold its breath. William carefully handed the baby back to Amanda. "Sit down for a moment. Breathe." I can finish the window, sir." "Not now. Now you get this glass of water." He pointed to the side table. "And hold your son." "That's my order." Elizabeth stepped forward, offended. "An order from you. So now we're going to turn the house into a human place." "Elizabeth." William finally looked at her. "You've crossed the line." She tried to laugh, but no sound came out. "Did I overstep because I asked for professionalism? Because you humiliated me?" His pupils darkened. "You humiliated a mother in front of her son. Do you know what that does to a person?" Amanda held the baby close, silent, her face still wet. The exhausted little one lay against her chest and slowly fell asleep. "William, you're being sentimental." "I'm being fair." He took a deep breath. "When did we start thinking it was okay to confuse efficiency with cruelty?" Elizabeth crossed her arms. trying to regain control. If you want the house to function, someone has to keep order. Order without respect is abuse. William gestured around. Everyone here works for us, not for your vanity. The last word hung in the air. Elizabeth paled, more from anger than embarrassment. Vanity, are you calling me? I'm telling you that from now on, the house rules change. He turned to Amanda. You can bring your baby whenever you need. We'll organize a space for him in the office with a crib and blanket. And if there's an emergency, let me know. I'll take care of it. Amanda opened her mouth, speechless. Her hands shook a little, not with fear, but with relief. Thank you, Mr. Harris. I didn't mean to cause any trouble. You didn't cause any trouble. William softened his tone. You did what any mother would do. Elizabeth laughed, short and venomous. Perfect. Tomorrow we'll have strollers in the hall, toys in the living room, and crying during dinner. What a wonderful image for our guests. Better image than a rich woman humiliating the breadwinner, William countered. Precisely. You know what impresses guests? Dignity. The cook looked up briefly. The gardener swallowed. The housekeeper, who had stopped a few steps behind, discreetly wiped the corner of her eye. Elizabeth tried her last card. If you start overriding my decisions with staff, I'm overriding an assault. William approached, firmly, but without raising his voice, and making another decision. From now on, no one in this house raises their voice to Amanda, or to any other staff member, not in front of me. Amanda breathed like someone returning to the surface after a long time underwater. I promise, I'll keep doing my best. Your best is already more than enough. William nodded. Elizabeth clutched her purse to her hip, searching for a way out. She found none. She turned to Amanda, spitting out the final barb. Then congratulations, you've managed to turn this house into a daycare. A home, William interrupted calmly. The word is home. The moment's electricity shifted. The same room where Amanda had been huddled now welcomed her. The gazes that had previously weighed on her became silent support. The baby, asleep, breathed deeply, confirming that the immediate danger had passed. Resume your day, Amanda. When you're done, come see me. We'll adjust your schedule while daycare is out. Yes, sir. Thank you, really. William walked to the door and, before leaving, looked at Elizabeth one last time. Don't confuse authority with a license to hurt. Not here. He left. The sound of his footsteps in the hallway was different now, not just firm, but final. Elizabeth stood there, her eyes fixed on a point in the glass, speechless. The image reflected before her was no longer that of the woman in control, but of someone who, for the first time, had been restrained. Amanda adjusted the blanket, kissed her son on the forehead, and dried his face with the back of her hand. The winter garden regained its light. It wasn't just a relief, it was a beginning. The house, which seemed to belong to someone else, had just opened a crack to accommodate her story too. William's office had a sound of its own, the low ticking of the grandfather clock and the gentle breeze against the window overlooking the garden. 2 mugs steamed on the desk. He pulled out the chair in front of him and pointed. Sit down, Amanda. Water, tea, water, please. Her voice was still soft, as if she didn't want to disturb him. William handed over the cup and waited. There was no rush, no sharp questions, just presence. Amanda settled the baby in the portable crib the housekeeper had hurriedly brought. A blue blanket covered his small feet. The boy sighed and went back to sleep. I don't want to expose you to anything uncomfortable, William began calmly, but I want to understand how I can truly help you. Today shouldn't have been like this. Amanda looked at the glass of water, at the trembling reflection of her own hands. Thank you for listening to me, sir. Almost no one listens. I'm here. She took a deep breath, as if summoning courage from some ancient place. I was widowed early. The words sounded simple, but the air in the office seemed to change temperature. I'm sorry. William lowered his gaze, sincere. How did it happen? His name was Daniel. He worked on a construction site. An accident. Sudden, without warning. I was 22. Our son was 2 months old. Amanda smiled sadly. I never thought the silence of the house could make so much noise. William clenched his mug without drinking. Did you have any family nearby? No. My mother passed away when I was a teenager. My father lives in another state, but we don't talk much. Friends help when they can, but everyone has their own battles. I've learned not to ask for too much. Asking doesn't diminish anyone. I know, she nodded, her eyes moist, but the bill comes due anyway. Amanda tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and continued. I worked in restaurants, cleaning by the hour, laundry, whatever was available. In the wee hours, I'd study a little, watching videos, reading about home management, organization. I wanted to be truly useful when the right opportunity came along. When I saw the opening here, I thought, this is it. I just need someone to give me a chance. William leaned forward, attentive. And you won her over with the way you look at things. What do you mean? You don't clean objects. You take care of stories. I saw you straightening the picture frame in my first store as if it were your own. It's unusual. Amanda laughed lightly, surprised. I try to do things the way I would like to be done for me. She looked at her sleeping son and lowered her voice. Some days I wake up before sunrise and think it'll be okay. Then the bus is late, the daycare closes, the milk spills, and I think, maybe not. Still, I come. Because he, she pointed with her chin at the crib, deserves to see his mother trying, even if her arms or her heart hurt. A pleasant silence. William took a deep breath. The dignity with which you spoke just now taught me more than any meeting. I'm not special, sir. I just keep walking. That's what being special is. She smiled shyly. I'm just afraid of losing this opportunity. I don't want people to think I've turned the house into a problem. You're not a problem, William measured his words. Today, the problem was a lack of empathy. And that's my job to fix. Amanda bit her lip, as if holding back a big question. Can I be honest? Please. When Mrs. Elizabeth spoke to me like that, it hurt not just for me. It hurt because he heard it. Children retain sounds. I know. William's voice cracked slightly. I was also a child in a noisy house, and I decided mine would have a different sound. He stood up, opened a drawer, and took out a pad. You can bring your son whenever you need. No mother should choose between work and love. Amanda blinked like someone who'd had a good scare. Her hand went straight to her chest, in a gesture that didn't ask permission. Are you sure? I don't want to get in the way. I do. William stood up. And let's prepare a space here in the office. Crib, blanket, diaper basket. When the daycare is out, we'll adjust your schedule. You'll do half the tasks here near him. The rest, the team will cover. Work is work. Be careful too. The housekeeper, who was waiting discreetly at the door, gave a small smile. I'll get the crib today, Mr. Harris. Thank you, Helen. William turned to Amanda. You deserve to work with respect. Period. Amanda lowered her eyes, trying to hold back tears. The baby stirred, and she adjusted the blanket, now with a smile that couldn't be contained. Thank you. I don't know how to thank you. You're already grateful. Doing your job with dignity. The door opened without warning. Elizabeth walked in, her posture perfectly straight. Her purse clutched to her forearm like a shield. Can we talk, William? She looked at the portable crib, looked at Amanda, and the silence turned into a knife. How beautiful. It really became a daycare. The poison came sweet. William didn't modulate his tone. He just held her gaze. I've decided to make some changes. Starting today, Amanda can bring her son whenever necessary. We're going to adapt the office. Elizabeth laughed humorlessly. Changes? Without consulting me? Regarding respect, I don't consult. He took a deep breath. And to be fair, I'm also changing myself. I won't turn a blind eye anymore. I've been silent too many times in this house. The sentence hit Elizabeth like a cold wind. She took a step forward, but held her voice. There were witnesses. This will ruin the house's image. You will rebuild what matters, William replied firmly. An image without humanity is like clean glass in an empty window. Elizabeth pressed her lips together. She swallowed hard and said nothing more. It was her first silent defeat. Amanda, disconcerted, tried to get up. I can leave, if you prefer. Stay, William signaled. This conversation concerns you. Elizabeth turned the ring on her finger. So it's decided. Yes. William turned to Amanda, his face softening. What's his name? Noah. Noah will have a corner here, and you will have my support. Amanda smiled, and that word, support, made a beautiful noise inside her chest, like light rain on a safe roof. Elizabeth turned to the housekeeper. Helen, at least make sure this doesn't disrupt events. Helen held his gaze calmly. It won't get in the way, Mrs. Harris. The team will organize itself. Elizabeth took a deep breath, suppressed the urge to burst out right then and there, and with a nearly silent, "Great," left. Her high heels once again marked the hallway, less confidently than before. William waited for the door to close. Then he turned to Amanda with an expression that was a mix of firmness and apology. I should have spoken sooner. When injustice comes in the door, silence becomes complicity. Not anymore. Amanda nodded, excited. Today you spoke for me and for Noah, and I'll talk whenever necessary. William smiled slightly. Now, let's get to work. Tell me what you need to work peacefully. A corner for the crib, an outlet nearby, warm water sometimes, and respect, she said, with simple courage. Consider it done, Noah grumbled softly, as if in response. Amanda picked her son up. He nestled into her, calm. The whole room seemed to breathe together. Thank you, Mr. Harris. You have no idea how much this changes everything. I do, Amanda. He looked at the picture of the first store on the wall. Real beginnings always seem small. Days later, late afternoon was falling over Boston, a golden light streaming through the master bedroom curtains. Amanda was carefully gathering clothes, shirts folded by color, dresses in sheer covers, a subtle scent in the air. Noah slept in the portable crib in the hallway, watched over by the housekeeper. Everything was calm. Too calm. Elizabeth's cell phone vibrated on the vanity. She entered the room with light steps, picked up the phone, and, without noticing Amanda behind the wooden screen, answered on speakerphone. Her voice changed. It became velvety, intimate. Hi, you? A low laugh. I almost went crazy here today, but just hearing your voice, I remember why. Amanda froze, a dress in her hands. Her heart raced. She didn't want to hear, but the conversation seeped through the room like water under a door. No, he doesn't suspect. Elizabeth swiveled in her chair and looked at herself in the mirror. William has no idea. Silence on the other end, followed by a muffled male laugh. With you, I have the life I've always dreamed of. Trips without annoying people, dinners where I can be myself. Amanda felt a chill on the back of her neck. The sentence hit her hard. She looked at the door, then at the screen. Any noise would give her away. She breathed slowly, supporting her dress with her arm to keep it from falling. Of course I was cold to her. Elizabeth lowered her tone, venomous. The new maid. Brings the baby, creates drama. William melted. I had to swallow, but it will pass. Pause. What? No, I'm not jealous. I just won't lose control of the house. Amanda closed her eyes. She wanted to leave, run, tell William everything. But her legs wouldn't obey. The sound of the clock on the bedside table seemed louder. Saturday? Elizabeth bit her lip, smiling. At the usual hotel, room 804. Yes, yes, me too. A silence full of promises. I have to go. Kisses. She ended the call. The room hung in suspense, as if it couldn't remember how to breathe. Elizabeth stood up and, for a second, simply admired her reflection in the mirror. the glow of someone who believes herself to be above all rules. Amanda took a half step back. The floor creaked. Elizabeth immediately turned her head away. "Who's there?" Amanda stepped out from behind the screen with the dress in her arm, trying to keep her face neutral. "It's me, Mrs. Harris. Excuse me. I was organizing the hangers by color, just the way you like." "Did you hear something?" The tone came sharp. "No, ma'am. I just came in to finish the bedroom before dinner." Elizabeth looked her up and down, searching for cracks. Amanda held her gaze with studied calm. Her hands were steady, her voice soft, her entire body begging to leave. "Very well." Elizabeth smoothed the dress she was wearing. "Put the jewelry in the right box and close the curtains when you're done. The sun fades the fabric." Amanda nodded. "Yes, ma'am." Elizabeth left, wearing the same expensive perfume that always lingered in the air after her. Only today it had another scent mixed in, the metallic taste of risk. Amanda propped her dress on the bed, her legs feeling wobbly. Her cell phone, still on the vanity, reflected the evening light. Room 804. The information burned in her head. She took a deep breath, took out the tiny notepad she kept in her apron pocket, and wrote in tiny handwriting, "Saturday, 804, usual hotel." She stopped by the master bedroom to collect glasses. On the tray, a napkin bearing the same hotel's logo flashed like a signal. Gold lettering, a folded corner, a touch of lipstick. Amanda took a breath, swallowed her fear, and tucked the napkin inside the cover of her assignment book, not in her pocket, where someone might check. In the hallway, Helen appeared, discreet as ever. "You've looked pale today, dear." "I didn't get much sleep." Helen inclined her head, unconvinced, but respectful. "If you need me, I'm here." In the laundry room, Amanda separated the clothes methodically, William's shirts on one side, Elizabeth's dresses on the other. At the bottom of the basket, a crumpled note, "Valet parking, the Regency Hotel, Saturday, 7:42 p.m. Amanda's hand shook a little. She took a picture with her old cell phone, turned off the flash, checked that the image was clear, and put the note back, the same way, in the same place. In the makeshift nursery in the office, Noah slept with his mouth half open. Amanda approached, ran her hand lightly through her son's hair, and whispered, "Mommy's doing the right thing, okay?" Even though she's scared. In the morning, while polishing the silver, she heard Elizabeth on the phone on the porch. "No way today. He's paying attention. Maybe tomorrow." Amanda continued polishing, as if nothing else were happening, but she wrote down, "Monday, call on the porch, postpone meeting." During lunch, William called the team together to thank them for their efforts with an event that would take place that weekend. "Without you, nothing works." Amanda held his gaze for a second. She wanted to speak. She couldn't. Her respect for the man weighed heavily, her loyalty to the truth even more so. That afternoon, she asked security for a set of keys to check the storage rooms. The security guard, Mike, was kind and observant. "Everything okay, Amanda?" "Yes, everything, just organizing things. If you need to see the cameras because someone's missing, let me know." The phrase echoed, cameras. Amanda couldn't ask for anything without arousing suspicion, but now she knew there was a way. In her notebook, the one no one read because it was Maid stuff, Amanda created a simple timeline. Dates, times, objects, phrases, no judgments, just facts. At the bottom of the page, she wrote, "Don't act out of anger, act out of justice," and she underlined it twice. Saturday arrived with clear skies. The house was in a festive mood. Elizabeth, dressed in silk, left early, saying she would stop by the gallery before meeting friends at the restaurant. Amanda stayed upstairs, changing the sheets, but her stomach was a clenched fist. Noah stayed with Helen for an hour. Amanda went down to the garage with a simple excuse, "I'm going to check the cleaning supplies in the basement," and past the counter where the driver's team kept the round-trip tickets. She didn't touch the envelopes, just memorized a sequence written in pen. Regency, 6:03 p.m., drop-off, pick up. She returned to the hallway as if nothing else existed in the world but rags and products. That night, Elizabeth returned with a different perfume than usual and a smile that wasn't meant for anyone in the house. She left her purse on the armchair. Amanda, wearing gloves, gathered up the loose objects and put them in the right place, always in the right place, when she slipped a card from her purse. Room key, 804. She didn't pick it up. She didn't photograph it. She just registered it with her eyes and returned it exactly as it was. No one would notice the purse had been touched. Later, William walked down the hall, looking for an old book in the library. "Amanda, have you seen a green hardcover edition around? I saw it on the side shelf, sir. I can get it. Thank you." He smiled at Noah, who groaned in his crib. Champion. Amanda felt her throat tighten. She wanted to spill it all there, in that simple smile. Instead, she handed the book back and took a step back. "Here, Mr. Harris." His eyes lingered on hers for a second. "If you ever feel something important needs to be said, say it. The house can handle the truth." "I'll remember that," he replied softly. On Monday, while steaming the shirts, Amanda noticed two long, shiny lints stuck to the collar of one of them. Threads of fabric from a dress that wasn't theirs. She took some tape and stuck it there, letting them come loose. She tucked the tape into her notebook. Small, clean, unintrusive evidence. At the end of the day, in the storage room, she found a box of old invitations. Among them, an envelope with Elizabeth's handwriting. "To the manager of the Regency. Thanks for your discretion." It was months old. Amanda didn't take anything, but she noted its existence and the date. The timeline grew longer. It wasn't about catching someone out of malice. It was about preventing the lie from engulfing those least able to defend themselves again. Helen appeared in the doorway with Noah in her arms. "He woke up calling for you." "My love." Amanda picked up her son, her face calming instantly. Helen squeezed her hand lightly. "Sometimes justice begins in silence, but it doesn't end there." That night, Amanda opened her notebook to the last page and wrote a single sentence to herself. "Speak when it's safe. Show. Don't accuse." The pen felt a little crooked in her hand, but the writing came out firm. She closed the notebook, laid Noah in his crib and turned out the light. In the darkness, she heard the wind outside and felt something else stirring inside. Courage. The woman who had once walked cowering now moved with a new width. Not for revenge, for love of what was right. The dining room gleamed like a stage. Tall candles, lined glasses, impeccable china. Outside, the garden breathed cold. Inside, the air was warm and dense. Elizabeth descended the stairs in a blue silk dress that made a soft rustle against the floor. Her smile was practiced, her head held high. William was already waiting for her at the bedside. Amanda, discreetly, organized the work with Helen. Noah slept in the crib in the office, the door half open. The whole house seemed to be listening. "Late?" William asked, not harshly, but not automatically politely. "Traffic." Elizabeth sat down. "Shall we begin?" The soup steamed, but no one tasted it. William rested his fingers on the table. "Before dinner, we need to talk." Elizabeth took a sip of water. "About." William gestured. Amanda approached and placed a thin leather folder on the table. She opened it carefully. Inside, a simple sequence, a Regency, branded napkin, a copy of a valet ticket with the date and time, the tape with the shiny threads, a sheet of timekeeping notes, clear, to the point. Elizabeth stared at the items, then at her husband. "What are these?" "Facts." William kept his voice low. "Facts that explain absences, perfumes that don't belong in the house, keys to rooms that aren't ours." A moment of silence. Elizabeth's gaze wandered over the tests, as if searching for flaws in the porcelain. "Ridiculous." She laughed shortly. "Are you jumping to conclusions because your employee decided to play detective?" Amanda stood still, hands clasped together. William didn't look away. "I concluded because I saw it. she said firmly, and because I preferred the truth to the image. Elizabeth's color drained a bit. You watched me. I heard you. William leaned back in his chair, not behind doors, but behind months of silence. And the silence is over. She lifted her chin. You want to get divorced over a napkin, a thread of fabric? I want to end the lying. He leaned forward. And I want you to stop hurting people to feel strong. The word hurt entered the room like a blade. Elizabeth tried to deflect it. Oh, sure, it's for her, right? She pointed at Amanda. The saint, the untouchable. William didn't take the bait. It's for me, for the house, for what I said I would be when I became who I am. Helen stepped forward, discreetly offering the main course. William nodded in thanks. Elizabeth declined without looking. Her skin shone like glass in the cold light. Do you think I owe you an explanation? She clutched the napkin tightly in her hands. I spent years by your side, in your world, at your events. No, I do. William took a breath. I owe you the honesty I didn't have before, when I pretended not to see what your thirst for status was doing to the people in this house. I left you alone with a power that became a weapon, and that ends today. Elizabeth slammed her hand on the table. The candle flickered. You're humiliating me in front of the staff. I'm stopping the humiliation from living here any longer. He spoke with controlled firmness. The difference is huge. Her eyes welled up, not with sadness, but with anger. And what are you going to do? Kick me out? Leave me with nothing? No. William picked up an envelope from beside the folder. I'll propose a fair settlement. You'll get what's fair. The legal team will contact you tomorrow. But this house is a home again, not a showcase. Elizabeth was silent, breathing quickly. The blue of her dress seemed darker. Her hands trembled. And her... He pointed at Amanda again, searching for someone to hurt. Will she take my place? Amanda took a half-step back, her voice soft. I don't take anyone's place, Mrs. Harris. I work. William added, Amanda has a place, hers, with respect. Elizabeth laughed, but it broke off mid-laugh. You'll regret it. The whole town will talk. The town will talk about anything. William looked up. I sleep with my conscience, and tomorrow morning I'll wake Noah to the garden sun. That's what I want them to talk about. A thick silence fell over the table. Then, as if accepting an inevitable verdict, Elizabeth dropped her napkin, slowly rose, and smoothed her dress. There were tears in her eyes now, not from the loss of love, but from the loss of the stage. I want my things. Helen will help. William replied calmly. Tomorrow morning. Elizabeth nodded, not looking at anyone. She walked to the door, stopped, and simply turned her head. You don't know what you're doing. I know. William held her gaze. I'm choosing dignity. The door closed. The house seemed to release an old, trapped air. Amanda, still standing firm, took a deeper breath than she had in a long time. Mr. Harris, do you want me to put everything away? Please. He stood, the weight on his shoulders finally falling. And thank you, she hesitated. I didn't do it for myself. I did it for the truth. For that very reason, thank you. Helen touched Amanda's arm with a discreet affection. Come on, honey. As they cleared the table, William walked to the window. The reflection showed a tired man, and at peace. He thought of his first shop, of his father, of the words he kept on the picture frame in his office. Work in silence. Let the results make a noise. Today, the noise was different. The sound of a house becoming a home again. The next morning dawned with a different silence. It wasn't emptiness, it was relief. The black pickup truck waited in the driveway, and Elizabeth's suitcases, 4, 5, 6, were loaded into the trunk with professional care. Helen discreetly held the door for the former owner. Elizabeth descended the stairs without looking around. The hall reflected her image in its polished surfaces, but she refused to look. At the door, she paused for a second. William waited a few steps away, serene. The lawyers will be in touch today, he said. The agreement is in the envelope. Elizabeth took it, tense. You've turned this house into a sermon, into a house, he corrected simply. She pressed her lips together, got into the car, and drove off. The gate opened, closed, and with it seemed to close an entire chapter. Amanda watched from afar, holding Noah in her arms. The boy clapped his hands, not understanding the weight of the scene. Helen put her hand on Amanda's shoulder. Breathe. Now something else starts. 2 weeks later, the routine had a new sound. In the office, a light wooden crib, a basket of diapers, a blue blanket. Amanda walked around with a different notebook, a firm cover, organized pages, lists of household chores and schedules. William called her into the office for the shortest and most important meeting of her life. Amanda, sit down. She put down her notebook nervously. Did something happen? Yes, it did. He smiled slightly. You've been promoted to housekeeper. Amanda put her hand to her mouth in surprise. Me? You. William handed her a new name tag, bearing the name Amanda Davis, house manager. You don't just take care of the service, you take care of the people. I need that in the front of house. Her eyes filled with tears. Thank you. I promise to do my best. You already do. He pointed to the framed painting. Now your work will make noise too, a good noise. That same afternoon, Amanda gathered the team in the kitchen. Starting today, we'll work with a clear schedule, respected days off, and shifts that don't overlap. If anyone needs adjustments per family, come see me. The house is big enough to accommodate respect. Mike, the security guard, whistled softly. Helen smiled with her eyes. The cook patted the counter. That's it, boss. Noah, in the playpen, laughed as if he approved every item in the new manual. Jack Williams, in turn, opened up old folders and a new heart. In a meeting with the Family Foundation, he spoke bluntly. I want a program for single mothers, partner daycare centers, scholarships, transportation, and I want to start in our neighborhood. The foundation director raised his eyebrows. It's feasible, but bold. Bold is pretending it's not a problem. Weeks later, the first pilot project began at a community school. Amanda was invited to visit the space. She entered shyly, but left feeling bigger. Are you going to put cribs in the lab? She joked with the coordinator. If necessary, the woman replied, laughing. Here, mothers don't apologize for being mothers. On the way home, Amanda walked with Noah in her arms, the light Boston wind caressing their faces. William met them at the front door. How was it? Beautiful, she sighed. It's more than help. It's respect turning into structure. Exactly. Time, which had previously weighed heavily, began to work in her favor. The mansion opened up, windows always lit, laughter in the kitchen, conversations with names and faces. The rules remained, but now they had a soul. Amanda kept everything running smoothly. When there was a mistake, she taught. When there was a success, she thanked. One afternoon, a delivery man left a box with no return address. Inside was a simple children's dress with a note, "For Noah, who taught me that crying can change a house." Amanda laughed and cried at the same time. She tucked the note into a special place, between the pages of the promotion booklet. At the staff appreciation dinner, William gave a short toast. To this house, which is now more home than ever. He looked at Amanda. And to the courage of those who spoke when it was easier to remain silent. To courage, repeated Helen, raising her glass of juice. Noah slammed his hands happily on the table. Amanda, with a calm heart, held her son's small hand and felt that, for the first time in a long time, the future didn't scare her. Work had a face, life had a purpose, and respect had a name. "Thank you," she said, looking around at everyone, "for your work, for your patience, for seeing me." "We've always seen you," Mike replied, smiling. All that was missing was a matching name tag. Light laughter, soft music, the smell of good food. The dining room, once a war zone, was now a family table. Before going to sleep, Amanda passed through the dark office and stood for a moment at the window. The city shone in spots of light. In the reflection, she didn't see the maid. She saw the woman who had overcome her own fear and opened a door to others. She placed the notebook on the desk and wrote on the last page, "Noah slept soundly today. So did I." She closed her notebook, turned off the light and left. The clock on the wall remained steady. Only now, each tick told a different story. That of a home that chose dignity, and of a woman who, without shouting, changed everything. End of story.